Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. In today's episode, we're going to continue our Honda 1995 story with the Honda Legend. Welcome back, and if you're new to Quartzlight, we're a car brochure channel looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. So if you're a car enthusiast or collect car brochures, or probably a bit of a both like myself, please consider subscribing. Anyway, back to today's episode. We're continuing our look at this 1995 full car range brochure for Honda. Now last week we looked at the Honda NSX. Today, kind of like going down the range, we're up to the Honda Legend, probably the real flagship of the range really, and by this stage it'll be the second generation. So let's take a look at that now. So here it is, today's brochure. Honda Legend looks really good in black. I really like this particular image. And like I said, this is going to be the second generation by 1995. So second generation came out in sort of like 1991, round till sort of 95, 96. So this is like the end of that second generation. First generation, if you remember, the Honda Legend, it was that sort of co-production with Rover to bring the Rover 800, and it was very much a very similar car to the Rover 800. Here, Honda elected to leave the Brits alone with this new generation. I think this is probably my favourite generation, and it was a big improvement on that first generation, but certainly still a lot of character. I think we'll start by looking at this main image, then we'll look at some of this text. So here it is as we zoom in on the big Honda Legend. Really like the design of these second generations, and I do really like sort of the low bonnet line and those little narrow headlamps. I think it looks a really stylish look. And of course, by this stage, they've moved away from Rover. If you think about the first generation, very much a co-production with Rover to produce the Rover 800. By now, they decide to move away from that and make this much improved car. Actually, it was a big improvement over the old one. And when you get to the third generation, I think they kind of like lose a bit of their sort of character. So I think these are actually my favourite generation. Sort of think of these as being a big sort of V6 executive class, more of a luxury end of the market. Similar to the big Lexuses, I guess. And they did very well in the US. They didn't sell many in the UK though. I think we're probably thinking like 100 or so each year. So not a big market, so you'd be lucky to really remember these. But like I said, I think these were my favourite generation. Let's have a look at some of the text. So it's telling us, superbly appointed, the Legend saloon is both distinguished and distinctive, featuring a powerful 3.2 litre 24 valve V6 engine. The Legend offers a smooth, effortless ride with a lavish specification and comprehensive safety features. The Legend takes luxury driving to new heights. And it then gives us a list of sort of the major equipment, and you can think of these as being very well equipped and of course reliable, being a Honda. So you've got a very big, reliable car. I mean, it didn't really threaten sort of like the German manufacturers, but in some ways I actually prefer these actually. First of all, it's got that 3.2 litre 24 valve fuel injected V6, which you mentioned earlier. We're thinking there sort of 0 to 60 in around about 88.2 seconds. Top speed around about 140. So, you know, it had plenty of power on this big car. It had an automatic transmission, power steering, ABS, all-round disc brakes, as you would imagine, side impact bars, central locking, alloy wheels, front rear stabiliser, body coloured bumpers, heated power door mirrors, body coloured, telescopic, adjustable steering wheel, and we've also got leather interior, climate controlled air conditioning, cruise control, electric tilt and slide sunroof, power seats with memory functions, electric windows, seatbelt pretensioners, leather steering wheel, RDS radio cassette player, CD changer, pre-wiring, electric aerial, 2-beam halogen headlamps, headlight washers and keyless entry system. And then we also have this little bit of an image of it in motion. Like I say, I like them front headlights and that low bonnet. I really do like that design. And you can make out them headlamp washers there as well. An unusual little image now of sort of, I guess it's representing craftsmanship and gives you an idea of some of the sort of like fake wood qualities you might find inside. And at the bottom here, it's telling us meticulous attention to detail is the hallmark of the Legend Saloon with its powerful performance capability. Safety is of paramount importance, so the Legend is equipped with both a driver and passenger side airbag, enhancing the excellent range of safety features which include ABS brakes with all-round discs and seat belt pretensioners. I thought we'd just have a second glimpse at that main image there. Like I said, the front end is certainly my favourite. Alloy wheels a little bit plain. I'm not sure if I like the alloy wheels or not on this particular example, but they suit the car in size wise at least. A lot of colour coordinating features, like it said on the start there, colour coordinating bumpers, colour coordinating door mirrors. And then the sides, very sort of aerodynamic, quite plain sides I guess in some ways. You can make out this particular model's got a sunroof and tinted glass, of course, as you would imagine on a car of this class. And then let's just zoom in on the rear. And then the rear isn't my favourite part, I must admit. I think it looks a little bit plain, but there it is. A little bit of a darkened rear tail light by the looks of it on there. And then we've got body coloured door handles and then a bit of bright work around the windows. So there we go, that is the Honda Legend. And I think last week we looked at the Honda NSX, and I think the engineers for the Honda NSX kind of like helps with this car to some extent. Certainly that V6 engine, it was supposed to be 25% more powerful than the previous version, which is a huge leap forward. So I'm sure the technologies and the advancements of the NSX and the engineers working on that, I'm sure they would have helped in the development of this big luxury car as well. So the specifications are only very brief in this brochure. You can see the Legend below the NSX there. So a 24 valve V6 engine, and if we move along we can see it's fuel injected and 3206 cc. We've also got 201 brake horsepower and 293 max torque, and it gives us some idea of the dimensions and the tyres. Obviously the bottom is the Legend, the top two is that NSX that we looked at last week. And then finally it looks at the fuel economy figures. Obviously this is only available as an automatic, so it's showing 21.2, 34.9 and 28 for urban, 56 miles per hour and 75 miles per hour. But you really didn't buy this for fuel economy, did you? And then we turn the page and we find that that's all the information on the Honda Legend, unfortunately. Certainly a lot of these cars in these brochures, there's not that much detail in. And as I always say, for these range brochures that we look at, I'm sure we'll revisit them in a full brochure just of their own. Anyway, as I do turn my page, and as we find ourselves anyway, the Honda Shuttle, we'll be looking at this next week. Very much a MPV that many of us have really forgotten about. So there we go, the big Honda Legend, the flagship for this range at this time. And whenever you think about these big executive cars from Japan at around about this time, you always picture the big Lexus, don't you? You can't forget Honda had a very nice luxury car of their own. Thank you so much for watching Quarter Light today. If you got any sort of memories of these big Honda Legends, please jot that in the comments. I'm sure they didn't, like I say, I didn't sell too many of them, so that, I certainly saw a few running around, but I never actually knew anyone who actually owned them. And I presume anyone who did actually buy one of these was someone a little bit different, really, because naturally you'd probably just, like I say, get a Lexus or indeed look at the big German cars. But I do like these Honda Legends and would be a very nice car to own today. Thank you for watching Quarter Light today. If you've not already become a subscriber, please look at subscribing. That really does help the channel, and of course liking the episode as well. Always very much appreciated, and I do thank you so much for doing that. The channel is slowly growing. We've now got Patreon. We've now got the opportunity to become a channel member. Have a look at the homepage if you want to do any of those things. There's also things like Super Thanks, where you can donate a small amount of money if you really want to, but you don't have to. Watching the channel is completely free. Subscribing is completely free, and I thank you very much for doing that. So for now, we'll say thank you so much for watching. Please do stop in again, and we'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.